Let's see if we can sort out these doors then. For those who didn't see my last video, here's a quick reminder. I'm not quite sure what happened there. What happened? I mean, you can see here, that's where I started cutting. Adapt and overcome, eh? Or just bodge. No! It gave me a bent drill bit. Fucking snapped. Absolute fucking prick. Oh, shit. Ooh. So smash it with the hammer. I was just gonna give up. I've had enough. So all that happens just a couple of days before I actually released the video. So I've had some helpful comments. I just want to show you how literally close this is. Obviously it won't close like that, but if I was to open these up both slightly and then, see, I need 2 mil. My conclusion was this frame was a little bit snug, a little bit too tight for these doors. The bottom I smashed wider. I couldn't smash the top wider really. And the first comment and suggestion was from Ken, and he said, how about using a bottle jack up here? In the top of my container here, the red one, there was a big dent in the middle and water used to collect just there. And inside the container, there is my bottle jack, 5 ton, lifting the roof up. So I've got a bottle jack and that would work in theory, but I don't think it will, because at the top here in the corner, you can see it's locked in a lot more. I'll show you a clip of the last, when I put it together. You can see all of the tabs that kind of lock in. So I think bending it more, even though I only need like 2 mil, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. Sean made a point, surely there's some adjustment screws on it. And the answer to that is no, there's nothing here. These little things, they're just for security. They just go in there. I even took them off to see if it made a difference. I mean, these hinges, you see there's a little gap there. They're not the greatest, but there's nothing to adjust. The plates on here, they're welded in. That's like that. There's nothing that I can change on here whatsoever. But he did make a point that they're not going to be used that often. So if I can get them close enough, then in theory that's okay. But I couldn't just close them like I did earlier. That's not good enough. I don't think that's close enough. If I can close that one, lock it, and then force this one past, maybe, just maybe. And Michael made the sensible suggestion to not bodge it, not bash it, just remove it, take it all out and start again. Now I know that option was probably the most sensible, straightforward. It's not straightforward. Well, I know I've fitted them before, I can do it again. It's just aggro, and I was worried about the fixings. I've really muddled the fixings. I've only got a few fixings in there at the moment. I didn't know whether they would hold if I redone them, but I've already figured that out. I can use chemical resin. I've done a video about that. So that was top of the list, but there was a couple of other options. Andy commented and he said he thinks it's crazy that they didn't build it so it's wider and then you just shim the hinges accordingly. If I was manufacturing this, that's what I would do. He did suggest about cutting it and welding it afterwards, and that was another option that I was considering just before he mentioned it, probably an hour before. I think he meant cut a slit in the door just here and then knock it in, weld it. So that was an option. The option that I was thinking about in terms of cutting and welding it, I was going to cut the back section off of this, and then I could access the tabs inside, and then I could cut them wider, move it this way, and then weld it all back together. That's almost like keyhole surgery. It would be quite difficult. I'm not sure whether I'd be able to do it, and if I was to slice that door open there, I don't know what's inside it. So they're very difficult options to consider, and I think in terms of preference, it would be take the whole lot out, disassemble it, then I can widen the frame at the top and weld it together if I needed to, and then I was going to square it on the floor, and then I was going to actually get cross bracing and weld it from here up to there so it couldn't move whilst I put it in. But that's a big job, eh? And Graham mentioned that the fix-all might have caused the problem as well. I don't think it really did at the time, because it hadn't set. It has made me think, what have I done to get into this situation? And when you remember this door, if I closed it, when I closed that one, it was hitting on the bottom initially. And the reason why it might have been hitting on the bottom was, in theory, if that frame either side, if it was tilted that way, yeah, then the bottom would knock, okay? So now I've made that bottom wider, I also tried to tilt it that way. And have I tilted it too far that way? And as a result, that's the reason why this one is hitting there. In which case, I would need to loosen off this top side here and tighten that side in. The problem being, I don't have a proper fix in here because that one snapped. And now the actual fix-all has glued the frame to the extensions, so I'm not sure it will push together anymore. So yeah, fix-all is a problem, but probably for now, not before. We'll do a quick assessment. I've bought a long level. You see these hinges, okay? I did think that they might be a problem. Right, they're all lined up. That is like, what? Is it bang on or what? It's magnetic, so it sticks to the door. I mean, if anyone put in any doors and they was that close, I'd be like, yeah. But you can notice up here, you see, that's probably a 1mm gap. That's because I've bashed it out that way. But other than that, it's almost perfectly level. You can see down the bottom, there's a little bit of a gap as well. It kind of bows in the middle, but it's not that far out. And the actual door, when it's closed, I mean, that's bang on. This side, I mean, it is slightly off, ever so slightly, but if I just push that a little tiny bit, like that's, to me, that should be good enough, surely. And the edge of the door, that's that. Now that is a bit more off than all of the other ones. And if you look at this one, same with the hinges. So, I mean, in theory, that should have been good enough, but it's not, because we've got no adjustment anywhere. Okay, to me, it looks like the frame here is slightly leaning this way a little bit by 1mm, but the door and the hinges are leaning this way by 2mm. So, in theory, what I'd want to do is move the frame back this way, like that. But if I do that, then this door will no longer be level. I'm not sure it'll be able to go because of the fix-all. So I need to take the fix-all off. Can't do that unless I take the whole thing out. It will just throw it out again. It just doesn't make any sense. To me, as a layman, this top side is too tight. The leading option is to take it all out, make that top section wider. You see in there, there's like a 1mm gap probably. It's like the designers haven't taken into account that space there on them hinges, and there's the equivalent this side as well. So it's almost like the doors are just that little bit too tight, because the frame's too tight, because they've not accounted for that extra gap on the hinges. So I've decided to go with the sledgehammer option. Only joking. Well, as well as my level, I've got some more concrete screws. These are 180mm. I've got some chem fix. I've got some metal drill bits just in case. Up until this morning, I was just going to take them out. You see, because I cut the sill too short and then had to put the extra concrete board in, these frame extensions, they are very, very close to the hinges. If I took the frame out, I could then change the frame extension, because I've got other frame extensions here. These to make it, these are smaller. If I take the doors off, I'll take the fixings out, I'll take the frame out, I remove all of the fixall, I can change the extensions, I can make the frame wider at the top by grinding it out, possibly welding it if I need to, get it all back in. Then I was thinking this morning, well, what if I make it too wide? I'm going to need shims to actually bulk the hinges out. So I started looking online at metal shims, and then I come across this other thing that might save the day, that might stop all of that aggravation. So I might possibly be able to fix it with just this. Now to me, shimming meant getting a shim, basically, put it behind and packing the whole hinge out, so that moves your door this way. But according to this video that I watched, there is another option as well, because the other way of shimming it is using a little shim like this, and you can either position it here on this side and then that still moves the door this way, or you can put it on the back side and then that hinge will tilt that way, this will tilt that way, the door goes that way. Do you think that that's going to work? Just this. But we will see. We might all learn something today. If this works, I'm just going to be amazed. I'm just going to make sure that these screws are going to go round it. I've got 6 shims. You've got no idea how much I want this to work. As soon as I saw it this morning, I was excited. I rarely get excited, and I got out of bed, I got ready straight away. And then this is several hours later, because then I was thought, oh no, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? Fixings in this side. I've only got the top one in. And on this side I've got the top 2 in. So I think I might put the fixings back in the frame before we shim it. Hopefully this is gonna hold. Nice. I went to fix this side. I thought I'd just check it. I think the only one that's in is the top one. And look how far this has gone off. So I need to move that this way. I think what might have happened is when I was undoing it and messing about, the weight of this door has pushed it that way. Use the pump to force it that way, and then I got the rubber mallet, which is smashed it on here, so that's better. Just got to hope these fixings are going to hold in this side now. The other side was fine. Okay, problem. This one's just spinning. So what I really wanted to do is whack one of these in. This is concrete screw. This is 180mm, but I don't have a drill bit that's long enough. I'd say the quickest one is pull it out, go with the 8mm standard frame fixing, and try not to snap it. It's not plugged in. This doesn't even want to go in. Where's that drill bit just gone? I think the frame extension, yeah, it's not in place, is it? What the fuck? I'm gonna fucking scream. Right, I've straightened up the frame. It's still a little bit off. I've closed it up a bit. It's just gonna have to do. This should go in now. That didn't snap. Oh, the bit just fell out. Should we just see if it closes now? Just in case. No. Okay. let's try this hinge shit. Now I've done that, this is the theory. So you get this one, and we're going to put that in place there. So it's on the back side. And then what you need to do is you do these ones up first on the opposite side. And then you do the back ones up. And then apparently that will move the hinge that way. I don't know, it just doesn't seem real, does it? I'm going to do this one and I'm going to do the middle one. Okay, they're done. I'm going to try it. If it's moved slightly, if it's moved like 1 mil that way, there's a possibility I might be able to do it to that door and it might just work. You're with me? You're with me? Oh, please work. Come on. So bloody disappointing. I mean, I don't think it's moved at all. Has it moved at all? Okay, I'm going to do the other side. I'll see you in a minute. Right, I'm going to call it. It's 1 minute past 8, Saturday the 10th of June 2023. Reason why I'm calling it is because I killed it. Focus! Can you fucking believe it? And it was all because of these. Just this. Can you fucking believe it? Shall I show you what I've done? I'm not going to finish it off yet. I'm going to do that tomorrow probably. I'm just going to show you and then I'm going to stop and because it's late anyway. And then have a celebration drink. I had to do 3 shims there on the backside, 3 shims there on the backside and 3 shims there on the backside. And what you do, just in case you get into this situation, is obviously you're taking out all of them screws because you're going to do that one first. Loosen off this, loosen off that. Don't take them out, otherwise your door will fall off. But just enough so it moves slightly. Then you put the shims in. Then you do the opposite side screws. Then you do the back screws. So I've done that. Then the other side, I had to do 2 shims. So this is 2 mil over here. That's 2 mil. That one's 2 mil. And then when I closed this leaf, it was catching on these little bits here. So they stick out slightly. So I hammered that one flat. Also hammered this one flat. And then it was catching on the lock mechanisms here because they stick out too far. You'll notice here that I've made it flush. So what I had to do was undo the screw, and then through the top I put a 1 mil pack. I slid it down to shim out the back of this, then done it up, and then that made this bit flush. This bit was sticking out, but that didn't really matter. I had to do the same down the bottom as well, and then as a result of that, it closes. If you haven't already, smash that thumbs up button. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.